Well, we're driving over to Princeton, New Jersey, where the Princeton University is. And in there's some pretty cool architecture that I think would be a lot of fun to sketch. So join me today as we sketch some things over in Princeton, New Jersey. See you soon. So here we are in Princeton on the campus of Princeton University. This is a restaurant that is on the campus, pretty modern, and it is attached to an older building, which is all stone, called, this whole restaurant I think is called Roots Ocean Prime. Now, I find this kind of interesting because the building over here on the left is what I kind of envisioned an old Ivy League school to have, some very traditional architecture. But what they've done throughout this campus is they've gone a lot more modern in some of their architectural designs. And this right here is kind of marrying the old and the new. So I thought this would be a kind of cool building to draw. This would be a pretty cool angle. But in order for me to draw this, I would have to put my seat right in the middle of this sidewalk, and I just might get smacked by one of these people riding the motorized scooters or just people walking by. I don't want to be in the middle of their path. So I found another spot right around the corner. See all the detail they have on this side with the sloping roof and the slate shingles that are kind of glistening in the light. I think this will be kind of, and look how simple it is on the left. So might be kind of interesting to draw this to show the traditional connected to a very plain geometric shape that's part of their building too. One of the challenges of this is going to be that the sun is coming right towards me, and although that will make some pretty cool shadows over here on this side, a little brighter on the top, it's not going to accentuate anything here, but there's really not much to show off. It's such a plain geometric shape. I'll be squinting a bit, wearing my sunglasses, but let's give this a whirl. So this is the view. This is the view I see while sitting on my chair. And what I see is this shape here is about the same proportion as this shape here, and it has a connector here. And so the laying out of this, I'll show you in a minute. I also see a little triangle up here. I'm not too keen about that. I think that's actually the ridge is going back. So that's going to tell a story about what that stuff is, but I don't know that I really need to show that little triangle there in order to tell that story. So I might leave that one out. That's a good thing about this urban sketching, is that we get to determine our world and determine kind of what we want to draw, the colors. That's the other thing. The colors I want to use are not going to be exactly these colors, and it's going to be a little bit more loose, a lot more loose. When I lay out this thing, I'm going to use these sticks here. This is kind of an Ian Fleming method, and just to kind of see how it's going to fit on the screen and on the board here. So this right here is about the same size as the old building, and then the other one's going to be right here, same kind of rectangle with the pitched roof right here. So it's not going to be really that large, and you can see the size of my fist. It's not that big of a drawing, and there's a lot of detail there. We've got windows and a lot of things to sketch, but we're going to minimize that a lot and make it as simple as we want to make it. And this sketch is ideally going to be a quick sketch. When I do my sketches for urban sketching, I'm oftentimes just doing the outline first. I find that that's really the better idea. It allows me to kind of just kind of get the overall, and it doesn't have to be exact here, and it just just to kind of get an over layout. Got a little bit of mound here, and then we've got and this is right here. That's that little column. This, and then this right here, and then we've got a little roof that's kind of meeting that over here. Just very loose. Just, you know, it doesn't have to be exact. It's just to kind of capture the feel. There's actually a method we could be using that's called contour drawing. Contour drawing is where you don't even lift the pen, and you just kind of keep your pen moving to allow for it to just take the shape that you initially see, not really get hung up on all the little details. I'm an architect by profession, and everything's got to be exact, and everything's got to be measured and proportioned and everything. Well, proportions are important here, but the exactness, oh man, that's kind of what I like about this urban sketching, is that it allows me to just kind of loosen up, man, just chill out. Don't have to be worrying about, is this the right dimension? Is this the right color? Do I have the straight line straight enough? You know, just enough with that. It's kind of nice to be able to just draw stuff that just kind of initially comes to your eyes, and allow for just the watercolor eventually when we put it on there, just kind of let it do its own thing. You know, it's so tempting to be really deliberate on all of this, and you know, I don't have the patience today to be that deliberate. I've been very exact in all my drawings throughout the week, and I need to loosen up here. It's just kind of, this is my way of doing that. I don't know if you can hear in the background, but there's these little cicadas or whatever they call them. It's still kind of summertime right now, and in the summertime these cicadas come out and they chirp, and they have this ch-ch-ch-ch sound. And being originally from Texas, we had that sound growing up all around my neighborhood. And summertime's basically my favorite time of the year. The cicadas, though, that sound, that's one of my favorite summer sounds. It's just, I'll miss it when the fall comes. It's kind of nice to hear that. Wish it would continue even throughout, but I guess it wouldn't be as special if it just kept on going all year through the year, would it? Let's put a window here. You know what I'm finding is these windows here should be of the same height, the same head right here. That's kind of what I like about sketching here. Don't have to worry about a lot of the detail. That'll just be a tall window in there. It's all good. Gotta stay loose, you know? Urban sketching, I'm finding, not only is therapeutic, but it's also like a journal. It allows me to kind of record some things that I see that later on when I look at the drawings I did, it kind of reminds me of, you know, like those chirping insects. Oh man, it just kind of reminds me of what I heard and what I smelled, what I saw obviously, and it's kind of nice to be able to have a record of all that. I think we're going to make this roof a little bit taller. Why not? It's kind of a good idea. It's kind of fun to be able to kind of lay all this out. Now, one artist, Ian, I keep talking about, he's kind of my virtual mentor. I just love his work. What he does is he does it a little bit differently. What he does is he uses these tomboy kind of things, these guys, Tombow, and it's got a brush on one end and it's got a pointer on the other, and he'll just draw the stuff, and really light. Now these are water based, and they'll work real well with the watercolors because they'll kind of blend in a little bit. And I'm going to use these for, it comes in different hues. I have a bunch of grays, different hues, kind of blue, kind of a cool and a warms and darker and lighter. I'm doing it a little differently. I'm using this permanent marker pen. It's by Artist Loft. I don't see the size of the point. It's pretty narrow. And that way I can just kind of allow this to be drawn, and I don't really want to use pencils to do this, because I'm just going to let this happen whatever happens. It's no erasers needed, even though these windows are a little taller than these windows. So what? This is our drawing, isn't it? You don't have to be exact. It's all good. This is all for fun. No one's going to be on trial here because you've got this block not quite big enough. So what? So let's do this. What happens if we were to put some color on it now? Then we can maybe come back later. And here's that sidewalk, by the way. Kind of on the, and we got this mound here. All right, it has those trees over there. It's going to be a great framing on it. Yeah, I like that. Cool. So we got this kind of laid out. Let's get some color on it. Let's see what we can do with this. Kind of made a mess of myself there, didn't I? All right. So here's my paint palette, and I'm using Daler Rowan, D-A-L-E-R and R-O-W-N-E-Y, Rony, and it kind of keeps sticking here. It kind of annoys me a little bit, and it comes with its own brush. Never have used it. It's kind of cool though. It's a travel set, so you come up with your own brush, but I kind of like to have my own brushes. And the colors I want to use on this are, I want to use some complementary colors, so I'm going to find something that's kind of a reddish burnt sienna color and contrast it with some of the green that's in the front. So what I'm leaning towards using is probably, and I know it's going to be bright, but what the heck, it's going to be kind of fun. I'm probably going to use either this and or this, mix them together for the burnt sienna red. Winsor has got some burnt umber and burnt sienna. I want to get my hands on that. And I might use a little bit of this brown, and I might use some of this green. This is a blue-green, and I'm not so keen about that right now. But I'm going to use this green here and maybe a little bit of that. We may have some greens and reds just kind of working together nicely, and the browns that have a little bit of red tone to it. So let's get started. The paint brushes I'm using are just a really small flat tip. This also Artist Loft. It came as a package. Got these riggers here. I normally do everything with this, believe it or not. Today I'm going to play around a little bit with the riggers to kind of draw a little bit of what I see. We've got a lot of texture there with the brickwork, so we'll and with the shingles. So we'll play around with that, and we'll also show kind of how this is so much more plain than this. So there'll be a lot of action going here, less going on here. The sun seems to be coming a little bit more here. This will be our darker area. So let's make this kind of our focal point as far as when we look at the picture, maybe that's the area we'll see the first. So to do that, we'll shade these out a little bit. Okay, so let's do it. Let's see what we can come up with. It'll be kind of fun just to play around, get some colors activated here. Yeah, look at that. That's pretty. I like that. One thing that I don't want to do much of today, I know this is a lot redder and brighter than what we see here, but let's just do it anyway. I kind of like this color. It's kind of nice. So we're going to have, see how this flat, it just kind of takes over. It does a lot of painting all at once. Kind of, let's just keep it loose. Coming along here. I kind of like how it's not quite, I don't want it all covered here. I'd like to see a little bit of white. And let's bring this over here. These little blotches of color is kind of cool too, I think too, don't you think? Nice color. When I mix colors within this palette, I notice it sometimes kind of gets a little muddy. I kind of disappointing a little bit, so I'm trying not to do that so much anymore. Kind of like I like how it's a lot less. It's interesting how that how this color over here, kind of like this here. This right here is going to be that very white stuff. All right, keep it kind of minimalist. Let's get some blots in there too. Okay, kind of like this. Let's just splat some things here. I like that. All right, and then we've got this connector that is kind of a gray, so we'll probably have to use this black here. Oh yeah, yeah. Ooh, yeah. I like that one. That's kind of nice. All right, let's do that. Kind of like that, and then we can add some of this stuff here. I do see a little bit. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna use my outrigger for this one. I do see. Some of the black on this side here. That's what I was trying to say. Getting a little bit ahead of myself on my words are not keeping up with my thoughts. Man, I'm so glad you guys joined me here. I've been doing this for probably 20 years, just as fun, and you know, sometimes it takes you a while to realize it, but when you realize there's a world out there that actually likes this stuff too, not just me, man. People go out there and actually sketch. It's kind of cool, isn't it? Well, it's great to have you here doing that with me. And I'm going to leave a picture of this on the description down below. And if you would like, and I'd be thrilled to see it, kind of see what you have got in your mind and your interpretation of this. If you want to sketch it with me, oh man, that'd be so cool to see it. And won't be able to critique many of yours, but my gosh, it'd be kind of cool to be able to see yours. And if you'd like for me to point out some things on there, I'd love to be able to do that. If I won't be able to do it for all of you, but please email to me any of your questions or your comments, suggestions. If you see something I'm doing you'd like to tell me, hey man, I got a better way, why don't you try it this way? That'd be kind of cool. I'd love to hear from you. We're a team here. We're doing this to learn together, you know. There's so much here that's, you know, art, you know. We can
we can share some things together. We have that common love. So I'd love to be able to share what I have with you. And if you got something that you can share with me, man, I'm all ears. All ears. How's that? All right, why don't we get some green going on? Oh yeah, I like this too. Okay. Let's see, I'd like to get some brightness going on too. I think that'd be kind of fun. All right. Let's see. Kind of turn a little green there, isn't it? Must have some blues happening that in there. Okay. Now, let's see what we can do with this green. What I see on that is some yellow in that green too. I see some dark greens on the bottom here. Here, I just kind of seen some. I also see this back here too, and I got something going on here. Why don't we do something? Let's do that. Okay. And then we got some greens going on here. Yeah. Come on, keep it loose, Larry. Keep it loose. We don't want to just get all bogged up into detail. We're just keeping it loose and having fun. That's what we do. See, look, a little bug right there. He wants to add to the flavor. Why not? Come on now. Join the party. Okay, let's see. Kind of like this guy here. Yeah, there's that. And then I'm going to do, oh, I don't want that one. That was that blue-green one. Got to stay away from that. Ooh, don't like that color so much. Oh, what I was saying too is when I add colors together, mix them here on the palette, I come up with some good surprises. And yeah, I do. Sometimes I do, but all too often it gets kind of muddled, which is, it's just, gosh, wish I didn't do that. But then, that's part of the art. It's kind of cool to be able to say, hey, that's whatever. That's kind of cool. All right, so you see kind of how I hope my palette, this thing wasn't in your way the whole time. I'm gonna let this dry a little bit, but you can kind of see how, oh, you know what, I got a little tree here, don't I? Okay, let's do a tree there, why not? Okay, that'd be kind of cool. Yeah, I like that too. All right, so we're going to let this dry a little bit, and then we're going to do a little bit more adding. Maybe I can have a little pavement. What do you think? Maybe a pavement here. It's kind of neat. There we go. It's good. It's all good. They say back in Texas. It's all good. All right. So we're going to let that dry. And then we will see what we can do to bring this up to life even more. When the next step I use is I will next step I use will be adding some grays with that tombow, and I will be using more of my black here. So it's a little bit of breeze. It's kind of nice to have a little breeze. It'll kind of cool this off. And once we get that, we're going to make this just pop. This is kind of like right in between. It's kind of fun how you can now kind of see this kind of develop. You see this right here it should be a little wider, but I ran out of paper, but proportionally in real life, this comes out actually to here. who cares, man? We're making a composition, and this is our world, right? We don't get too hung up on that kind of stuff. It's not worth it. We're here for fun. You know, there's people here in Princeton campus. I didn't go to Princeton. I went to Texas Tech University, far from being an Ivy League, but it was a great school for architecture. Princeton is too. There's some great architects that came out of here. One of them is Michael Graves. Michael Graves was a teacher here. And just down behind me in the path is a building that Frank Gehry designed. And if you're familiar with any of his buildings, they have a lot of times they're kind of like a watered up piece of metal with glass along that curved watered up shape. And that building over there is kind of the same way. It's kind of like a signature. A lot of campuses and a lot of municipalities around the world has Frank Gehry's signature watered up building, and so I guess Princeton didn't want to be left out, and they have theirs too. So maybe we can go down the way and paint that too, if you'd like. Let's see. This is kind of, I do see that there's these little, using this tomboy, I see, keep on saying tomboy. What is it? T-O-M-B-O-W. Tombow. And these will be just going like this. I think I can use this too for some really cool shades here. Right here. That'll give it some depth. Right. Yeah, that looks pretty doggone good. A little bit of depth. All right. Why not? You notice that when I'm holding my pencil, I'm holding it a little bit tighter because I'm getting a little bit more into the zone. I want to get a little bit more exact than I was before. Yeah, something like that. This has got this rim in there. It's kind of cool. Yeah, and it's got these bricks that are, or stones, I guess, and they kind of oh yeah, need a little bit of shade on this guy too, don't I? There. And I need some shade here. This one's going to be actually the frame itself. Frame's going to be shade. Yeah, it goes like that. This is kind of a common architectural trick that's done. A lot of times we'll use a very simple geometric shape, glass oftentimes in fact, to connect to an existing building. And there's other ways. If you go to Philly, you'll see the building that's near Independence Hall where Thomas Jefferson stayed in an inn. And that building is an old colonial building. And that colonial building is where he wrote the Declaration of Independence. And to highlight that building, in my view, unfortunately, the bicentennial happened when a style of architecture was going on that I'm not too keen on. It's called...
Howdy.
Howdy, howdy. How are you?
Just out of curiosity, I was like, is he drawing a picture of our restaurant?
Is this your restaurant?
Yeah, I'm the general manager here.
Oh, cool, cool. The reason why I'm doing that is I like how the old and the new is married together.
Yeah.
And so I thought I would share that with
They built this dining room when they built Cargo, which was the restaurant that was here before us. But they did a beautiful job.
Yeah, it really.
It's nice if they match the outside, but.
You mean on the left side?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The inside is beautiful.
That's
really nice.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard that, but that was the manager of the building that we're doing here as a restaurant, as we talked about roots. So, You get to know some pretty interesting people doing this too, isn't it? Fun. It's not just drawing, it's just how you can interact with other people. And I love people. I love sharing what my passion is with you, and also with other people passing by. And some people have some great ideas about how it can even be improved. I'm all ears. And like I said, if you have some suggestions, here's a lighter gray. Let's do that. Not too much lighter, is it? And let's see what we can do. Yeah, if you have some, please email to me. It's at Urban Sketchpad. Here we are on our sketchpad together. And let's see what we can do together. Okay. Now this shingle area is kind of cool. I think this is something that I just really wanted to play with. So let's play with that a little bit. Usually I do this kind of a thing with shingles, kind of very loose. Yeah. All these little shingles, I tell you, they're kind of fun. Where they're different colors, and the light hits it different ways too. These has a roughness to it, and we got this right here too. That's kind of neat.
That's it.